Hi everyone, welcome back to the Indoor Garden series. As promised, today I'm back for another video on how to harvest your indoor garden vegetables and also how to store them so they last longer. But first off, I just want to say a huge thank you to those of you who are growing your vegetables along with me indoors. So many of you have commented that you're enjoying this series, are loving the green and the pop of color in the little smart pots here, because it's too cold to garden outside. So thank you, way to go, and I know you're gonna learn some really helpful tips in today's video. So I'm gonna harvest these vegetables in just a moment, but before I do that, I just wanted to give you a quick little peek at the vegetables we started about 3 weeks ago in the first video on this in the series. Here we have the Tiny Tim tomato, which is a great indoor tomato. It only grows to about 2 feet tall, and I just started these seeds in here, but we'll be transplanting them out probably in about a month or so, and we'll definitely bring you along for our transplanting video. Now, a little tip here, if you're frustrated because your tomatoes are growing too slow, don't worry about it. It's winter time right now. They're gonna grow a little bit slower. What you can do to help them grow a little bit faster is place a heat mat underneath it. They really like the heat and that'll really help them take off. So next here we have some herbs. We've got dill and basil growing here in the orange little Calicum Smart Pots. I love this pot. This is my favorite color. And you can see the dill here is coming right along. It's a cool weather herb, so it likes the cooler temperatures of the winter time. And the basil is popping up right here. This one's a warm one, a warm weather herb, so it'll grow a little bit slower in the wintertime, but again, don't worry about it, just keep plugging away. And I know a lot of you are saying you're really enjoying the pop of green and the pop of color of the Smart Pots in your indoor garden. And here we have some lettuce, and it is coming right along looking absolutely beautiful, right on track for 3 weeks. So if your lettuce is growing slowly, lettuce likes cooler temperatures, so it could be that you might have it in too warm of a spot in your house. So just make adjustments. Don't be afraid to experiment with your indoor garden and go back and watch the first couple videos in the series so you know exactly how to get your beautiful indoor garden started. I'm just gonna grab the chives and the basil. I'll come back in a second and get the lettuce. But how much fun is it to harvest vegetables that we grew indoors? I know a lot of you are in wintertime, you can't grow outside. So comment below and let me know how you're enjoying your indoor garden too. If you haven't yet started your indoor garden, no worries, it's not too late to get started. Head over to calicumgardenhome.com and grab my indoor garden seed collection. There's 10 varieties in here that are easy to grow inside, and I've taken all the guesswork out of it for you. You can grab one of these and you will be good to go. Now, we're gonna be harvesting today some vegetables that I started inside about 6 weeks ago. I've got some beautiful bronze mignonette lettuce. These are all from the indoor garden seed collection. Some chives, some basil, and some microgreens, which are so easy to grow right over by your window. So first off, let's talk about lettuce. Now, lettuce is so easy to grow. You can grow and harvest it indoors in about 4 to 6 weeks. Super easy just to snip some for a beautiful lunchtime salad. So what I'm gonna do is talk about the cut and come again method. What that is you're just pinching off the leaves at the base of the plant. You're not pulling the entire plant out of the pot. That way you're cutting it and then it's gonna come or grow back again in a couple of weeks and you'll have a couple of harvests out of this container. But it's always a good idea to succession plant, which means I planted these seeds about 6 weeks ago. I planted some other seeds about 3 weeks ago. That way it keeps the harvest coming and you always have something to grow and eat that's fresh that you can grow right inside during the wintertime. So we're just gonna snip off some of these leaves. Oh my gosh, you guys, if you've never grown your own fresh, tasty salad, it is so amazingly delicious. So if you have been growing your salads for a while, please let us know what your favorite variety of lettuce is and the difference that you see in your homegrown lettuce versus lettuce that you buy from the grocery store. There's just no comparison. By snipping a few from each little section and then letting some grow. Before we move on to the chives, I want to share a little storage tip for your lettuce. Of course, it's best if you can eat it fresh for the best flavor, but if you're harvesting a larger amount and you can't eat it all right away, no worries. Don't wash it. Just put it in between layers of paper towels. That really helps absorb the moisture, helps the lettuce stay fresher in the refrigerator, and then just pop it in a plastic bag, put it in your crisper drawer, and it should stay fresh for about 3 to 5 days. Moving on to the chives from the indoor garden. Chives are a cool weather herb, very easy to grow inside. They grow very quickly. These are onion chives from the indoor garden seed collection and add an absolutely delicious flavor to scrambled eggs, to salads. Just snip and clip. It's so fun to have easy access to them in your indoor garden. And you can see how the chives here are kind of flopping over. Definite sign that they need harvesting. You can harvest the chives when they're a couple inches tall. And what I like to do is give them a little haircut. Just gather the chives up in my hand like so, and then go in with my scissors and just clip a handful off. And you can just snip these right away and use them in your recipes, or something that's really fun to do is to dry chives. And I like to just keep it really simple by laying them out on a plate like so. And you can just set them out on your countertop and they'll dry in a week or so. Or if you have a dehydrator, you can stick them in a dehydrator. This is a really simple way to have them for later use if you can't use everything right away. Now, the cool thing about chives is they grow right back. So I'll probably have another harvest coming in about a week or so, and they smell amazing. Wish you guys could smell this. So let me know if you're growing chives in your indoor garden and what recipes you like to use them into. The other herb that we're growing from the indoor garden seed collection is basil. Super easy to grow inside. We've had this under a grow light, but it also grows very well in a sunny window. Now, the thing about most herbs is the more that you harvest them, the more that they grow, and basil is no exception. It smells so amazing in here. And what you want to do when you harvest basil, you can harvest it just as you need it, or you can harvest a whole bunch at once. I'm just going to snip off a couple of stems here. You want to harvest it before it flowers for the best flavor. My basil here is not flowering. So I'm going to go down a couple inches on the plant. The basil leaves grow in sets. We've got sets of 2 leaves all the way down. So I'm going to go down about 2 to 3 inches. There's a nice little stem here. Just going to snip it off. And we'll do that in a couple of spots around the plant. And we actually plan to use this basil on Christmas Day in a little brunch that we're having. So I do want to save it for a couple of days. So what I'm going to do with basil, a great way to store it is just store it in a jar of water. So I'm just going to pop the stem right in the water here. Basil will also propagate or grow roots from the stem. Now, basil is also very easy to propagate, and what that means is you can put it in a jar of water and it will grow roots from the stem within a week or so. We'll probably end up eating this one before that. So I'm just going to pop it in this jar of water, and then I'll keep it right over here on my windowsill until I'm ready to use it. And the great thing is that we'll definitely be getting lots more harvest from this little pot here. We're going to see some new growth in just a couple of weeks or so. We've got our lettuce, our chives, our basil. The last thing we have to harvest today is our microgreens. Now, microgreens by far are the easiest thing you can grow indoors. If you don't grow anything else, grow microgreens. They don't need a grow light. They don't even need direct sunlight. These have been growing right here next to my window for a couple of weeks. We planted them about 3 weeks ago on the first video. We've got arugula and red mustard greens. And you guys, they just look so amazingly beautiful in this purple Cali Kim Smart Pots. Look at these little tiny leaves. Aren't they pretty? Now, the great thing about microgreens is they are super nutrient dense because you only grow them to a few inches tall. You're not growing them to maturity. And you can usually harvest them within just a few weeks of planting. Now, I usually like to harvest just what I'm going to eat that day, and we are going to have breakfast right after this. So I like to harvest them when they're a couple inches tall, just like this plant is. They're very easy to harvest. You just can go in there with your scissors, grab a little handful, and then just snip them off at the soil level. The cool thing is you can usually get a couple of harvests out of each pot. So we'll harvest these, and then what I always like to do after I harvest or after I prune my plants is to give them a nice little dose of the Good Dirt plant food, which is high in nitrogen and will really encourage some brand new growth. And these red mustard greens add a little zippy taste to your salads, your soups. You can throw them in wraps. We're going to throw them in scrambled eggs this morning. And they really do pack a punch of nutrition. As with most vegetables, microgreens are best if you eat them fresh as soon as you pick them. But again, you can store them in the refrigerator for a couple of days if you wrap them in a paper towel. Don't wash them first. Pop them into a plastic bag, put them in your crisper. They'll be good for a couple of days. We've got our lettuce, our chives, our basil, our microgreens, just enough for a beautiful couple of meals today from the indoor garden. The only thing that's going to top this off is our tiny Tim tomato. Not quite ready to harvest yet, but we're going to bring you along for transplanting these into larger containers and show you how to grow them and nurture them indoors. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that video. And comment below, let me know what you're growing in your indoor garden. Grab the indoor garden seed collection along with a copy of my book at CaliKimGardeningHome.com. Let me know what you're growing indoors and how you're enjoying it. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next video.